Shoot, what do we do here? I guess hi. This is the cast of us, Last of Us podcast. Sort of celebrating the nature of the game, themes of the game, the conversation of the TV show, sort of some of the behind the scenes, what maybe you can and can't expect, with a little bit of inside info, without breaking any laws, of course.
Yeah, without breaking my NDA.
Without anyone getting in a lot of trouble. We're gonna dance around a few things. Maybe we have a little bit of insight into some things. So coming from myself, we don't want to number us, but I'm host number one. My name's Stephen Rose.
Twitch.tv/Stephen Rose? No.
Yeah, you could call me that. Sometimes I go by Seductro. I don't know if
Mr.
I recommend. Maybe you'll like this one, but maybe you might not like what I do on Twitch, but I am on there, twitch.tv/Seductro. If you like checking out some absolute nonsense, that is what we get up to. That's why everything's so flashy. There you go. And on the, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, well, hello. My name's Tanner Cherry. I represent, I don't know, I guess I'll be the color commentator on this this podcast. You're definitely more of The Last of Us fan. Oh, yeah. I believe that most of my experience with the games has been watching you play them. I've played a little bit of the first one. I'm not the devout, I don't know if you want to flex your tattoo or what. You're wearing a long sleeve shirt.
I'm so buttoned up. We're talking episode one content there. Yeah. The cannons will come out. We want to look a little premiere tonight, so Yeah,
you're definitely the lifer. I ended up working as a carpenter on the series for a little more than a year. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. So I have a lot of insight into the creation of the series, and I'm going to try and dance around not, screwing over NDA stuff. I'm going to have to, as episodes come out, we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to comment on things. Once the episode is aired, I can comment on it.
Yeah.
But I can't really go into much more than that. So that'll be my input for this.
We'll get as clever as we can, Let's just see what everybody else is doing,
Yeah.
Push the lines accordingly, and only so. So for my background with The Last of Us, what should I tell them first? I beat the game, the first one in particular. We gotta be talking 40 times. It's ridiculous. I know that game front to back to front. I could quote any part of it at any point, and I cry every time at the giraffe.
Every time.
The intro, I'm gonna cry. I know I'm gonna cry. I start it up. I'm like, I'm not gonna cry, and I cry again. It just happens. It's fine. I've spent. I had a woman I was pursuing, and would be a fun little offside. I had a woman I was pursuing once, and we had some drinks. We went to my place, and I sat her down, and I gave her probably a 2 to 3 hour long breakdown of the entire series, first to second, and. She still decided to be interested romantically with me afterwards, and listened the whole time intently. Not even a nerd, doesn't even play video games. So either the story's really good, or I'm just an entertainer, or she was really lonely. So it could only be one of those. So
hey, I mean, you got me right. I watched you. I watched your emotions going through the different games, right? And I tuned in every day.
Oh, yeah.
Are we still playing Abby?
That's a good meme. That was a good meme. We're still playing as Abby right now. Oh, and that's that'll be a whole thing. Hey, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Right? Interesting to see how the internet will handle the TV show version. I wonder how the TV will handle that, actually, to be honest. I'll have to find.
This podcast, we're going to start with the first game. Or sorry, the first series, the first season of the series, which... for all we know is, it's focusing on the first game.
Yes, as I can't imagine it going that far ahead, since it's years and years and years in the future on the second. Yeah. So you'll. But we know the characters. What do you think of the casting? Let's talk about that. Hey.
Well, yeah. So the whole point of this, we're gonna try this first episode. We're gonna do some shakedowns and some predictions, because it comes out tomorrow. It premieres tomorrow. So we had to do this. I'm sick as fuck right now, dealing with some heavy family stuff as well, and it was just we have to record this today, because past tomorrow, we might have stuff spoiled. So
Yeah. We really need to get this one done and in the basket, but we still want to do it good. So we got our hot takes, kinda. I'm sure we'll get into some thoughts and whatnot. So that's kind of where I wanted to start, was what your thoughts were on casting, and just obviously just from what you can say as like what you can interpret as just having seen the characters and then now having seen the actors picked for the roles. What's your thoughts?
well, okay, surface level. I think everybody does. I think I love Joel, like Pedro as Joel. I think he suits the role. I think he looks like Joel. I know some people have been like, man, he doesn't make a good Joel, and it's like, what are you talking about? Like he literally looks like a carbon copy of him.
Do we hear his voice like in any of the trailers yet? Do we hear? He says some things.
Good question.
Because I know Joel has a pretty thick accent. Not thick, but he's a Southern man. He's got his drawl to him, so he's kind of got that sort of.
A little bit, actually. There was an interview with him recently talking about how much he enjoyed like how Canadian the filming felt, and how like being able to forcibly over the course of a year explore all the different pieces and like landscapes of Alberta, and how he was just like, man, like it's gonna feel Calgarian, it's gonna feel Albertan. Ooh. And that's really cool because it really suits the vibe of the show. For
those of you who don't know, we are from that place. That is a province in Canada, Alberta. That is our hometown. Not a lot of things get shot here, but they looked for a desolate wasteland and didn't want to build one. So where do they go? Besides where we live.
Alberta has some pretty heavy like tax incentives for filmmaking. So HBO was like, ooh, this is dirt cheap to go film there. Also, I think COVID had something to do with it too. I think it was easier to shoot here than it was in like.
It must have been pretty easy to shoot any show during COVID. I mean, you don't have anyone in the streets. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna take your whole street for a moment. Is that cool? It's too late.
It's true, but also, I mean, like we were getting rigorously COVID tested on the show. Like everybody was. If you were around the actors, it was, you had to be like you had to make sure, like you basically had to wake up for work and have a negative test to go in on set.
So commenting on what you were saying though regarding Pedro Pascal, I was one of the people who initially, of course, when I first, so I've never watched The Mandalorian. That's my confession. Everyone tells me I should. I believe that's him in it, if I'm not mistaken. So I didn't really have a ton of Pedro Pascal experience just as an actor. I didn't really know like his diverse kind of portfolio, right? I didn't know a ton about the guy, so I was like, I don't know. Like, he kind of looks like Joel, so like that kind of works. Like, if we're just going off of, like you said, surface level, yeah. I was like, okay, this is fine casting for this character. But there was one thing that recently actually changed my mind, and from just like, oh, this is decent, to like, maybe this will be really good. And it's a funny reference.
Was it the Nick Cage movie?
Yes, it was. I did. I was like, this guy's good. I was like, this guy's a good actor. And so then
that movie was so good.
I was filled with hope after that. I was like, okay, maybe you did. You weren't just playing around. This isn't just like whatever casting. Maybe you put a lot of thought into it. And so that's, I believe is it Bella Ramsey? Is that correct?
Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie. It's cast for Ellie. So like Bella, I mean, obviously, the only thing that I know her from was Game of Thrones, and her character on Game of Thrones was like smash it out of the park, like one of the greatest characters of those later seasons. And so I was like, yeah, she's got the chops for sure. But like for some reason, I was always just like, oh, she doesn't look like look like Ellie.
That's what gets me too. And it's like I still have that small, tiny little piece of just, I don't know. But yet, of course, it's like as gamers, we're particular. We're probably too whiny, and in a million different ways. At the end of the day, kind of. Ellie's a lot more than just like the way a person looks. You know what I mean? I think.
It's like a whole archetype. Like her character was captivating and.
Yeah, so an innocent kid, but also if we're gonna try not to super spoil the games here. If you haven't played them, you definitely should. I'll try not to throw out.
Wait, I'm pretty sure anybody listening to this has some sort of reference to the games, right?
I don't know, man.
No, actually, maybe
we're
people are
the
listening to this
show.
in anticipation of the series. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's people want a new HBO show since Game of Thrones dropped the ball real hard. So People have been hoping for something big, and they've really kind of put this in as like their next big, from what I've seen anyways, their next big push. So maybe not, right? So I think we'll try and softball some of the stuff that if we do talk about that kind of thing. We'll try not to spoil anything for anybody. If we do, we'll be like, give you a fair warning on it if it's too out of hand or whatever. But yeah, she's go from kind of innocent, just like doesn't know anything about the world kind of kid to just a much more, I don't even know, powerful character. Yeah, hardened is hardened is a perfect word for it. So that's really where I think that casting kind of comes from, right? So
yeah, and I mean, like from what you've seen from like Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, like I know she's got that on lock.
Yeah,
so like
she's definitely got that. So
and then also like I only ever actually like saw Pedro walking around on set. I never really got to like say hi. But I did get to say hi to Bella at the rap party.
Yeah.
And like Bella as like a normal person, not as her acting characters, totally. I was like, yeah, that kind of, she's got the like sort of just candid playfulness that Ellie has in her, in the off hardened parts of the character. When in The Last of Us, when there's a lot of like, the beautiful like in between character building, like when
that's what it's all about, man.
Joel go to that museum or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, like there's so many like moments that just they really nest the characters into your heart. They do such a good job. It's a revered game. It's being remastered for like the how many time right now, right? Like it's coming out on the PS5 or it's probably
PC.
Out now, right?
It's coming out on the PC remastered March 5th. I could be wrong about the date, but I think
it's the same release as PS5.
Yes, no, it's actually out for the PS5 already. So PC is finally, we're getting our turn again. Sony's been doing that lately. God bless him for it. I can't wait for God of War on my PC. I don't really want to buy a PS5, so it's not only can I not really easily find one, I can't easily afford one either. So as long as I can just keep using all the cool stuff I already got, that would be fantastic. So I'm looking very much forward to that. There's actually something very interesting, fun little fact about that remaster or whatever you want to call it, remake, I guess they called it. They have like the most accessibility options out of any game like ever made.
Oh, interesting.
And they made like a really big point about it. I'm pretty sure there's like vision impaired mode, which just has like a ton of color like big bright circles and like
high contrast stuff.
Yeah, right, and like color indicator things that are all over that are big and like shapes and whatnot, so that you can really any type of impairment that you have, or physical or visual, or you name it. They thought a lot about that because they really wanted people to be able to experience the game or the story themselves or whatever, right? Not everyone has a Twitch and wants to watch some dude playing something, or if you can't watch it even, right? You want to have that experience, you want that story told. So that shows a lot like that the developers of that game really care about the story, and obviously the way that they where it goes in the second one, then you can tell they really, really do care about it. And so it's exciting actually that they have the, one of the directors there, Neil Druckmann, who is working on the set there. Tell them about the, what you were saying to me about the sets that you saw with if you can, with the rendering.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. Like one of the things that stood out to me the most with working on sets was, or like more so building the sets. I wasn't on like a lot of the filming sets. We usually built the sets and then moved on to the next one when cameras rolled in. But when it came time to do like set deck dressing and like all of the final touches and the scenic painters coming in to really add like the final touches and make all the sets look perfect, I noticed that all the pictures that they were posting up as reference photos on the walls were like screenshots from the game. And at first I was just like, well, that's really cool because they're, everybody's just trying to model it after the game, until I started to notice that a bunch of them were actually, I was like, this wasn't in the game. Like I was playing the first game at that time, and there was one set that we were working on where I was like, I'm already past the like test portion, right?
Yeah.
And like we're building this set, and the reference photo has Joel, Ellie, and Tess in this set, and I was like, I didn't see this in the game. And that's when I realized that not only were they adding like a lot more story in between for that journey, but like they were using the game's engine as just a means to create reference photos. So like they were just using the video game as like the I guess Unreal Engine or whatever it would would have been. And,
Naughty
like, that was
Dog's
the way
Naughty
that
Dog's in-house engine. They do
Yeah.
their own. They spin up their
Really?
own special engine. Oh yeah. That's what
impressive, actually.
all the best do that, honestly, the guys. Well, I mean, let's not say Cyberpunk was one of the best, but it was one of the most impressive, Lots of but yeah, lots of guys do just use Unreal or whatever you name it. But yeah, no, they have their own in-house tech, so it makes sense that they would bring out that engine too, because they're like that's probably their baby at this point, Uncharted and all that. And actually, fun side mention, I guess, while we're being Naughty Dog game adjacent here. Did you ever see the Uncharted movie?
No.
No?
I saw the trailer and I don't know. I wasn't that excited.
It's stupid, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a decent watch. If it's on like some streaming service for free, like definitely check it out. I wouldn't be paying for it for the night or anything. You know?
I mean, I don't have like a huge emotional attachment to the Uncharted series. Like, if I had watched you play it on Twitch, maybe I'd be like stoked to see the.
It doesn't have the impact of The Last of Us, though. It was meant to be. It's more Indiana Jones than it is The Road, which for anyone who hasn't heard, that's a novel and it's a movie as well. It's I wish I could remember who wrote it, but it's a very, very grim series or movie, I guess, and book. And The Road is a brutal one, and that's actually, I think, inspired a lot of some of the Last of Us's themes. So if you ever want like a piece of reference material, that's definitely a big inspiration for them. It's a miserable watch though, for the record. And from what I've been told, they're trying to make the show a little less gory. Was that correct? Was that what it was? A little less gory, or like a little less.
They're talking about making The Last of Us less gory?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, a little less gory. That was what I had heard. This is like, I don't know. I'm being Kotaku right now. Like I have a
like personally I hope it's like Django, man. Like I wouldn't mind some crazy gore, but I know that there is.
Wait, Jenga or Django?
Django.
Okay, because I'm like, what kind of Jenga are you playing that where people are bleeding out through their faces, dude?
Yeah, that sounds like a hell of a Saturday night.
We take things very seriously here in Alberta. Django being one of them. Okay, Django. Okay, I like that. Yeah, no, that I hope so too. And obviously, there's got to be some of that. But and it's HBO. What would you hold back on? Honestly,
I know that they're tackling like severe subject matter. I know that there's. I can't really get into it too much, but most of the stuff I've actually that I can share here is probably like definitely rumor mill, right? Like there's some stuff regarding near the end of the series where it's apparently a little
Nathaniel,
a little more
is it Nathaniel or whatever his name. That's what I'm wondering.
I can like allude in the top layer there, but I can't actually
I'll throw out a guess here. I'll throw out a guess, and viewers, listeners, watchers, whatever the heck you consider yourself. I'm gonna guess that's a David appearance. I'm gonna guess that's
So I haven't played the end of the game, and I think I missed you finishing the game. I know that actually, like I'll put this right out. Like there's parts of the first game that I don't actually know, right? Like I know that the really impactful scene where like
spoiler alert,
Joel and Ellie with the scientists and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like at the end, I'm not like really familiar with exactly what happens there, and I kind of actually decided that I wanted to let the series kind of unfold the way it does. I feel like as we talk about it too, like your perspective versus my perspective, and then like what the series.
Well, I'll hedge my bets on it being David, because there's a whole bit where one of our favorite characters is in some sort of way, in some sort of not so great of a way, so to speak, and the future's looking pretty bleak, and they get some help that's maybe not all that helpful, kind of thing. So that's
that means nothing to me right now.
Well, that means you made it sound like you didn't want to know. So we can walk through it. I'd be interested to see how they handle that, because like you said, if it's more mature subject matter, I would say it's probably in the game wise. That's kind of what I would consider as well.
It's definitely more mature subject matter. It's going to be on the Game of Thrones level for sure. So
yeah. Well, hopefully no one's related. I could really do without that.
So in regards to predictions, I guess we are right now we're on the backside of seeing like IGN posted a review or something of the series. I can't remember. It was IGN that shared it, and
Okay.
it was basically saying that like Rotten Tomatoes, the people who have seen the series thus far, currently sitting on Rotten Tomatoes at 100%.
Oh
review.
boy! Oh, okay. Now listen, I would love to say that I trust Rotten Tomatoes, but
Right.
I don't anymore. I want that to like that. What I will choose to do though is be positive right now because this is something I want. So I will manifest a reality in which this is 100% for me as well. And I'm like, yeah, woohoo! You know, like so that's. I'm not gonna let my negative Nancy jump out here and ruin that. But I will say the Rotten Tomatoes gave like Bullet Train like a 50 something. And Bullet Train's like one of the best movies I've ever seen. So I
Yeah, I
don't.
can't wait to see that.
Critics are wildin'. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them lately. I don't know what it takes to be a critic, but to hear that is really, really interesting. And so IGN posted that. So these are the critics who
I
saw
it
the
on
premiere.
Facebook. It was IGN that shared it, and I believe they said something like there was currently 28 reviews posted, and it's sitting at 100%.
So we must imagine the first episode is probably the whole first episode. I'm going to imagine would be the intro scene to the game,
right up to the title card.
the incident. Yeah, and that would be
right up
probably
to
the last.
Right up to the tears,
And then
man.
boom,
The
yeah.
waterworks.
Oh yeah, exactly. They probably do that whole scene like mark for mark. I couldn't imagine them changing too much. Maybe just lengthening it a little bit because it's a little less than an hour in game. But like
Well,
you
so,
could. Go ahead. Sorry.
One cool thing is that I know that like I don't believe, and again, most of this stuff's going to come from like chatter that I picked up in the year that I was on the show, and I don't know. We'll see if most of this stuff is true or not. But I don't think Neil Druckmann was on as a director initially. I think he came on just shortly into the project, and somebody else that was handling the first episode or whatever got cycled out, and Neil Druckmann came in and apparently was like, you know,
You can't mess that
don't
up.
fuck with my baby. Like
You can't you can't mess up the intro. That's everything.
Yeah,
That's just
so
like
we ended up like reshooting a ton of the first episode at the very end of the production because it was like, no, this is too important. It's all got to be really, really perfect, right? And it
where's
was
the
all
gas station explosion? Where is it? Where is it? I didn't see it happen, you know. I did. Neil Druckmann watched his version and was like, I didn't cry. I don't get it. Why didn't I cry?
He was very invested. From what I heard from everybody, he was very invested in protecting what the game was to him. And like from what I've heard from an interview from him was that it was an incredible opportunity for him to get the opportunity to not remaster the first game, but to retouch it, to actually make it like better. Like the few pieces that he wanted to change or move around or like potentially expand upon, this was the series was his ability to like let's make it even one step better after all these years of reflecting on it. So it's really nice to hear.
It's kind of weird that you think about it and it's like, how often does that happen that the creator of anything, like I mean creator, I want to preface, you know, he was the director, the creative minds behind The Last of Us goes to there's so many credits. There was 2 directors. I think Amy Hennig might have started on the start of that project as well. So there's a lot of like credentials to be handed out, right? But Neil Druckmann was the sole director of the sequel and probably what you would call like the steward holder. You know, he has the stewardship of the series at this point. It's now like he runs the show for The Last of Us and whatever happens to it in the future. So to have that happen where like someone comes from a video game industry background to go direct something shows that there's gonna be that passion sort of put in there. And you don't like we've had how many video game movies can you think of that or movies or shows? I don't even know how many video game shows we've had, to be honest, that weren't just like anime.
Live action Super Mario Brothers was amazing.
Yeah, okay, right? Like but that doesn't count because that was a monstrosity that's really entertaining, but for the wrongest reasons. That's a brilliant movie, but what the hell? The hell's wrong with the people who made that? I know you didn't have much to work with, but god damn, do your homework a little.
Well, I don't know much about what was captured on film, but I know a lot about what was like built to be captured on film, and I'm so excited, man. I can't wait to see this first episode tomorrow.
You're
Wait, actually, my question is: Does the series drop tomorrow, or does the first episode drop tomorrow? Is it episodic, or is it?
I think it's episodic. If it's not, then holy.
Yeah, we got a lot of episodes to do
Holy
tomorrow.
swear word, YouTube. Look at me dodging your silly goose rules. Holy crap! It's like could be a long night.
We're 25 minutes in. I already swore at the beginning. I'm gonna have to bleep that.
Thank God.
Just the release valve.
I've been holding it in here. I've been acting so professional. Loosen my tie a little bit. Yeah, jeez,
yes,
I've been at church this whole time. Oh, whoo, whoo, whoo. Thank goodness.
The Church of Seductro.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call that's called a cult, but
that's called a cult.
Yeah, and we only open on Wednesdays. So,
I have a question for you.
Oh.
What, in regards to predictions from your side, from everything you've seen or whatever, like maybe even just hopes? What is the one most important thing that you hope that they nail or preserve?
Let's start with the title of this episode. Bottles and bricks.
Yeah.
Someone has to catch a brick. Someone has to catch a brick and then a stick. That has to happen.
A brick?
Well, no,
or
but
throw.
Have one caught to the head, you know? Someone,
I see.
I need to see a brick get fired at someone's head and then have them be like, whoa, what the? And then just hit with a stick. That's what I need. I need that. It needs to be included. That was like, honestly, if you were good at The Last of Us, you know that was basically your only weapon on the hardest difficulty. For those of you who don't know, probably most of you, I've beaten that game on the hardest difficulties as many times as I can, and I even made it harder by turning off all the listen modes. So you can't listen through the wall or whatever the heck. You have no extra
sensory perception or whatever.
All that crap. Yeah, no, turn that off. I even turned off the reticle for a bunch of playthroughs. So, and you know, you get like 6 bullets the whole game on that difficulty. So you miss one shot and you're like, well, so like I beat that whole game I punched a clicker to death. If you didn't know you could do that in The Last of Us 1, you can. You'll have to do it 45 times in a row, but
you have to. Don't you have to get one strike from an item and then you can punch them down or whatever?
No, it takes raw skill. We're talking Sekiro on steroids. It's the hardest thing. You have to just get him from like the back side angle. You get one hit and you have to run back away, and then you have to let him swing again and dodge and hit it. And you have to do this like 35 times in a row. But I had nothing else to work with.
Do you have like a store of clips? Like if you go to your Twitch clips like all time, is there some clips that we could throw into one of the episodes of you just like, man, like watching you play The Last of Us was some of the best fucking Twitch days I've ever had.
Maybe the one where like I'm from Edmonton. It is from technically the second one, but it is just Joel and Ellie at that one of their excursions when they were younger. So
yeah, I feel like we got to use those somewhere.
It was literally just me knife fighting everyone because I was like, it's going wild,
I think
right?
I think I watched you play for like 3 straight days where you were obsessed with breaking every window that you walked by, like every car window,
every window in The Last of Us 2 I've smashed. I don't know what it was, but I never found anything playing on the hardest difficulty, but there was nothing. I think one time I found one thing in a car, and I was like, oh, it's over for this game, man. I'm breaking every single window, even if there's nothing in there now. And I remember you guys had to paint. I bet you that game was 3 hours longer for me going out of my way, being like, oh, looks like there's a window back there. Hold on.
I'd say 3 to 5.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, and eventually you guys just accept it. You're like, stop doing that. I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right. So the bricks and bottles. That's one thing that you want to see. Now,
I need to see it.
One thing that I think I heard mention of from a friend of mine that was working on set as like during filming as a carpenter was that I think there's some cheeky third person stuff, some filming.
Oh, like the Doom movie where they do the first person, but not horrible.
Yeah, like tasteful third person filming, and I'm hoping that is a reality because that to me is a rumor currently, but I'm really hoping I see that.
That's cool. I would like that. I think that would be a nice throw. There's so many ways that they could please gamers with this. There's so many ways that they could please us, but there's also so many ways they could just bomb this so bad. And I'll be so upset, and you guys will get to see that if this is done horribly. I don't even know what I'll do. I'll cry on stream for you as if a giraffe had just shown up. Like,
you know what's funny is like The Last of Us, definitely that's its MO, is making Steven cry. So if we can get this series to really rip your heart out and we can capture that and bottle it.
It's the most Last of Us thing you could do to me is just suck. It's just be a bad show. I'm like, no. The final wound.
I'm hoping it's good because it was my first. It was my first time working in the film industry, and currently the only time. And it was the coolest experience I've ever had. I think I found out that Callie and I were gonna have our first child 2 weeks before I got offered the position, and then Luca was born 6 months, like halfway through me working on this production. And it's long hours. Like even on set is crazier, but even as a carpenter, you're working 10, 11 hours a day, like 70 hours a week sometimes. And it was nutty. So like being the nice thing was that we like the first time in my life that I had like 3 weeks off for Christmas. The whole production just shut down. Everybody went home. They're like, now we're going back to our family. And like everybody just had 3 weeks off. So
that's nice. Yeah, you don't get that in a lot of places. You don't get that.
But we had a 3-week-old child, so we just like sat on the couch. Like you're awake for like 3-hour periods and sleeping just like all day and night, and it was a blur anyway. But
I bet you missed that.
Yeah, I mean, he sleeps 12 hours a night now. So nice, like uninterrupted.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, that's. I remember you were saying we were gonna originally do it out there, but circumstances just withheld us from being able to do so. But I remember you saying you might be too loud for the baby, but maybe not, because I was screwing things into the roof and he didn't wake up. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I had to screw a DSLR mount into the ceiling for some other project that we're doing, and like Luca was napping, and I just had to do it, and he
just a
slept
greasy
right
impact.
Yep. Yeah, it's too bad. Our plan was to do that in person, the first episode, and then watch the series together. Or sorry, the first episode, and then do our first breakdown episode. We're gonna have to do it on Discord, unfortunately. You know, life gets in the way sometimes. And I'm sick, which I'm sorry if I sound like shit.
Drink a bunch of ginger, eat some garlic, do some weird Russian stuff. I don't know. I'll consult my
drink
local.
A bunch of ginger.
There you go. Yeah.
Buckley's and Brewhouse Pilsner. That's how you scare away a cold.
Buckley's and Brewhouse. Hold on, is that fair? Hold on. Let me 1 second here. All right. 1 second.
Dude, okay, I gotta fill the air. Mr. Seductro's running back into his kitchen. Anyway, yeah, this was a stupid idea we had. I think it's a fun podcast. I know that like
nobody told me we were allowed to have fun.
The concept of doing like the episodic breakdown of series or whatever normally seems cringe to me, but like when you're involved in the filming or whatever, or like the construction of the show, and also like, homie Seductro here,
Rabid. I have a problem. Maybe today is the day. Maybe I should just show him. Maybe no. You know what?
Yeah,
tune in for the next one. That's all right. Yeah, keep watching. All right. Less and less clothes will be on as this progresses. Keep viewing. All right. Is that a useful tactic?
Is that all we want to touch on? Or is it, you think,
honestly, I want to hear a prediction from you, and I want to hear. I want to hear two things. One, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be a lot of CGI, or are we expecting? Like, do you think they're going to try and do some practical stuff? Because let's think for like the bloater. Or whatever the heck it's called. It's a bloater. Sorry, I'm thinking the boomer, the archetypical big swollen guy from Zombie Thing. But I'm wondering how if you're able to weigh in on kind of maybe how they might do that or not.
I can weigh in carefully. I witnessed a lot of practical.
Nice.
But the trailer that came out, the second trailer. At the very end, where there's that scene with like when they're crawling up out of the pit, the infected, that was CG. Those were CG, and I know, like I actually wasn't expecting to see much CG in regards to the infected.
Yeah,
because I saw so much practical work on the sets, and like there was one time I was walking through Calgary Film Center. We went there for lunch or whatever because there was food trucks set up, and I was just walking through the halls of Calgary Film Center, and there was just people walking around like extras or whatever with like cordyceps, like mushrooms growing out of their eyes and stuff. And I was just like, what?
That's awesome. Oh, man. I feel like I might have seen some photos of some people who are just like in that area at the time or something. In the area. But I think I saw some good ones.
There's also one shot in one, and I think it's the first trailer, where they just have like the brief, like the clicker.
Yeah.
I'm like,
If you get, you might even be able to interject some of those just real flashes or something in there if you get a time, obviously, because I know we're on a time crunch here. We plan to give ourselves a little more time for them coming up here. We didn't think ahead, but we also kind of cooked this up like 2 weeks ahead of time. So
it was probably like 2 weeks ago. We should have recorded this last weekend.
Yeah, we had great ideas popping up and coming out of our heads there. We just we didn't. I don't know if either of us even knew if we were really going to do it, but I think that we knew this was supposed to happen, and we knew.
Oh yeah, I couldn't do it last weekend because that was our first filming day for the MTG thing I'm doing.
Well, there you go. So it's your fault. Yeah.
I'm busy. Like I got so much ambition back to do all sorts of creative projects, and
this guy's got friends. What an asshole! I can't believe it. The nerve of this guy. No, that's awesome. Yeah. So you're working on a Magic the Gathering project as well, hey?
Yep.
Just throw in a little promo about that. Let me know what.
Yeah, it is a YouTube channel. It'll be a podcast as well. It'll be Twitch whenever we feel like it. It is called The Rogue's Passage, and it is basically going to be we're going to record gameplay podcasts, and there's also going to be Brady and Brandon are both really into like the lore aspect of Magic the Gathering. A lot of like the novels that are written and the stories, the deep story that intertwines everything, which is usually kind of left off to the side, and the two of them are really into it. And so we're going to do a bit of like a lore time. There's lots that we want to do. So we're currently filming things, and I don't know when we're going to debut that, but yeah, that's the other project we're working on.
Okay, cool. Good.
Nerds.
Good. I was going to say, yeah, right. Good to look into it. Now I played my first Magic game recently. Seemed like a perfectly...
That's right.
Perfectly pleasant game. And I'd like people to know who are watching this that, obviously at this moment we only have so much to go off of, and I don't really want to just spoil the whole game for you in case you haven't played it at all, or you're saving yourself for marriage, aka the show. We don't discriminate, so we're not going to touch too heavily. But I'm gonna just do a little quick shoot prediction here on probably do you know how many episodes? I know that's probably a rough idea.
I bet you if you look at IMDb, I'll look at it right now. I bet you it says.
There you go. Oh, now I'm curious too. Yeah, like you said, I don't know, does it debut as a series or not? We should really look that up. Because HBO doesn't do that, though. They haven't done that historically. So I don't know why we should expect that.
They were doing House of the Dragon episodically.
Yeah, and they were doing, and so was the show that I can't remember the name of, despite the fact that I love it so much. I'm like Dragon's Dogma. No, dude, not that one. That's literally a video game TV show. Hey, it's a video game TV show. We got another one. No,
it says 9 episodes, I think.
9 episodes, okay, and they're an hour long.
Let me check. Episode. Yeah, I think episodes, and then it says 9. Okay. Episode 1 is called "When You're Lost in the Darkness."
Get bent. Look for the light.
Get bent.
That's awesome. I do know. I love that. Anyone, when you see the next episode, I'll have a T-shirt on and I'll flex the whole time, and you can see for those of you who know, I have a firefly tattoo that you could say is large. It's pretty big. It's as big as my arm is gonna get, really, I think. And so,
and the funny thing was, while you were, I was thinking about getting a tattoo similar to that, and then you just. No, actually, sorry, you got that before I started working on the show, didn't you?
Nope.
Or was it during?
No, I was mad because you're like, oh, just apply. You could be a carpenter on there. I'm like, I don't want to do hard work. I want to be lazy. So I could have probably even been a carpenter on that show, but I'm an idiot. Definitely. So this is my second chance. This is my second opportunity to just make sure I get my little heart involved in something involving the show, because I don't shut up about it, and I won't. I'm not going to, the show, the game. This whole time I'm going to be dialed completely in. So I'm very excited, honestly. That's tomorrow. We need to figure out how the heck we're even gonna watch that. I don't have HBO. I'm gonna have to break into my neighbor's house and steal his 4K Roku or something.
Yeah, I guess if you want to watch it like right on the nose, it's gonna have to, because
and I do.
I bet you it's already online.
Yeah, you think? Nah, I doubt it.
I don't know. Like, pirates are crazy when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Fell off a truck. I don't know what to tell you. A truck.
I heard like that whole Velma show or whatever got.
What was that about? Anyways, it's something that looks horrible. Yeah. What? I guess you know what. To be fair here, give a little credit. Velma was the one who solved the mystery like 90% of the time. So, and it almost was never the dog. Scooby never solved anything.
It was never the dog.
Yeah, he was unhelpful. Even like the general sniffing powers, he wasn't even very good at that. So he wouldn't have even been a good dog to find like a landmine or something. So if we're being honest, like Velma does deserve her credit. So if that show sucks, which is I was reading about that, I was like, then they did her dirty. Because really, I guess you need that the handsome guy with his goofy little bow tie or whatever the heck he's wearing, a scarf.
I can't actually remember the names. What is it called? It's not a scarf. There's a certain name for it.
Oh, goofy little scarf didn't do it for you? Is that not good enough?
I hate that. Bring it up and you're like, I got
Welcome
nothing.
to the official Scooby-Doo and or scarves / necktie type things. And The Last of Us also. And I want to add one more question. I wanted to wrap that too. I had one more question for you. And that was, I was going to make a prediction, but I decided against it. I was going to ask you where you think the first season would maybe wrap kind of in the game. I know you said your knowledge of the first game is there's gaps. There's gaps in where exactly the story goes.
Yeah,
but you were saying later into the series, right? There's what you're hearing, right? Or whatever the rumor mill is saying. It deals with some more heavy themes.
Yes.
So I'm thinking we might be looking at, by the end of the season, we might be looking at the spoilers. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Tune in and like, I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. I'm going to talk about this for a second. When Joel gets shot in the game, he gets shot with an arrow or something, like right to the chest or something, like a bunch of times in like a shopping mall. And Ellie has to fend for herself and protect a Joel who has like, God, I could only imagine what kind of infection, because like it's been like a month and he's just laying there like, ugh. She's out there hunting elk and stuff, and they encounter a party of people who are seem good but are actually kind of slave traders and other types of things. And she's a little girl all by herself or whatever, and there's a man named David who seems very trustworthy, and that's a bit of a problem, a young girl and a weird guy named David. So
no comment.
Yeah, so that's, I'm thinking we might wrap the show maybe even at the point where Joel gets shot, because the game debates the shit out of you because you think he's dead.
Are you saying that you think they're gonna land the end of season 1 short of where the first game ends?
Oh, for sure. Oh, there's no shot they don't. There's no shot they don't, because the first game is like probably 30 hours long. There's a lot in there.
Well, the second game's quite a bit longer, right?
The second game is quite a bit longer, but also didn't need to be that long. It's kind of the way they told it that makes it that long.
Yeah,
right?
You kind of play it in 2 layers, right? Like
you play the same section of time in the universe, like one after the other. Whereas they could do it kind of over top, differently than they would with a game. So the gameplay experience in that versus how it could be presented cinematically, I think is quite. It's quite different. Yeah. They're presented with a lot of opportunities with that. So I do believe. I think I just got a feeling about it. I think
you hope.
I hope they end on something that hangs your heart up. You know what I mean? I think because I guarantee they're gonna open with something that rips your heart open.
Man, yeah, I feel like this is gonna be the biggest point of potentially ripping your heart out is if it doesn't land the way you want. Right, yes. Like where it sticks the landing and leaves you like, because it's gonna be ages before we get the second season, and I'm pretty sure it's already on the internet that they've said that the second and third season are a thing, right?
I'm sure.
If not, I'll bleep that part out, but I'm pretty sure they're doing 3 seasons for certain.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be shocked. So 3 seasons, that makes sense then. Yeah, I think. Well, if that's the case, I mean, so wait, so that's how many they've like signed on.
That's how many are currently planned.
Yeah, I
but
think that could mean anything. That could be just for the first game.
6 months from now, they could be cut. 6 months from now, they could be cut or whatever, right? Like I'm hoping. It seems like it's rave reviews. I don't think we're gonna have any problems with this show being canceled.
No, I don't think that's gonna be an issue either.
The money they spent at Alberta alone, like I don't know, like they spent more on every episode of The Last of Us than they did on any of the episodes of Game of Thrones ever.
Oh, that's exciting, man.
The budget was insane. They spent like hundreds of millions of dollars on season 1, and it was all injected into Alberta. So our economy got just like rinsed. We got a lot of I think it employed 1,400 people. The Last of Us production employed like 1,400 people over the course of the year and a half that it was shooting here. So it was a big deal.
Yeah, you could see it in the streets. There were people, I remember I was seeing it constantly on social media. People would take photos from their apartments or whatever of cool sets. And of course, I'm sitting there with my like AI enhanced photos. I'm like, what is that? What's that say? You know, I'm like running it through Topaz AI image upscaling. I'm like, just getting so legit with it. I'm like, come on, take a better picture. What are you doing? Get a better phone.
Okay. I have a ton of high quality, really good pictures on this little phone right here. And it's like I took
jail.
tons and tons of pictures. Once the episodes air, I'm golden.
Oh,
we can go
buddy.
through them. We can go through, like, if we see an episode where it's like, oh, this set was in that episode, I'm pretty certain I'm good to be able to show my.
Once it's been seen, I'm pretty
stuff.
confident that's how that works. Yeah. It's not exactly a spoiler if I'm looking at it already from the production company that released
I'm
it.
pretty sure, like, the initial reading when I looked at like the NDA or whatever was that, like, basically once the show airs, you're good. But I was like, wait, does that mean like once episode 1 airs, you can start sharing secrets from like episode 9? But like, no, like I don't think that's. I think it's once the content airs, you can share.
Maybe bounce that off like Sterling or someone who maybe maybe have a
shout out to Sterling. I'd love to have
shout out to Sterling, Last of Us speedrunner, fellow super fan. We'd love to get you on here and especially after seeing the episode.
On many episodes.
Yeah, and he's been quoted as a bigger Last of Us fan than me even. So that means top tier nerdage. I mean, once you're a speedrunner, you're like a different breed of person, in my personal opinion. You're like you're on some next level stuff.
It was the greatest. There was one day we like showed up at the shop and we were all just sitting there like getting our stuff ready. And Sterling walked in and he was like, "Dude, like, does nobody realize what day it is?" I was like, "What do you mean?" "Dude, today's the day that it happens in the game. The outbreak happens today in the game."
Oh, you bunch of normies! You bunch of normies don't even know. God, you're all fired.
It was so good. He was
Cancel
just
the
like,
show. We gotta start it again. I need to be there. maybe season 2.
I would love to
slip on.
Love to have him on for an episode. That would be a riot.
Just break into a set next season. Don't quote me on that. All right. Climbing under fences, electric laser beam wires. I'll be sliding under them just to get one selfie of me, laying on the ground on a desolate wasteland that could be anywhere.
There's a mall that was going to be ripped down in Calgary, right? And it was used for some filming.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, like it was horrible for security. People just fucking walked in there. There was so many things leaked because they just walked in and took video of the sets. It was I'm
in the wrong city. I'm in the wrong city. I'm 3 hours away from that. What the heck?
Edmonton had that stretch between the apartment buildings downtown, right? There was a set downtown Edmonton, and there was like actually I guess I can't really explain or I can't describe too much. But there was people that just walked through that as well.
I didn't know you had a set here. I didn't know that. No one told me that. Well, I guess they weren't allowed.
There was
also.
a number of sets in Edmonton.
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to say that unless you knew. But nobody told me that, and I'm officially upset at them. Anyone who knew, if you're watching the show right now and you knew that, you didn't tell me. I want to be one of those people who might go to jail for breaking into something. All right, I want to be that guy. All right, that's what I'm really looking forward to here.
You brought up that one video that was leaked of the person out their apartment window, looking down on Joel and Ellie walking through that downtown set. That was in Edmonton. So yeah,
of course it was. Why wouldn't I? It was one of my friends. Oh, okay. So you're a bad friend. Whoever took that photo, bad friend. And also me, bad friend for not remembering who you are. I'm sorry about that. If you're watching this and you're like, I took that photo, I'm sorry. I forgot your name. But feel bad about yourself.
I think it was the Edmonton one that there was just people went there they were like, let's go down there at 1 in the morning and see what's up. And there was just like, you could sneak through the fence. And
that's a real Edmonton thing to do, by the way. Just so you know, we have a weird tendency to break into abandoned stuff and just end up places. That's probably why most of the filming didn't happen here.
It's basically hood rat Alberta.
We just love to wander places. We can't help it. All right. It's oh wow, what is this? A desolate wasteland? Feels like home. Like let me in. Yeah. So I don't even know. I think most of my questions are out there. My question. I mean, I'm wondering about casting about like the daughter. That's I don't want to say too much, but
Joel's daughter.
Yeah.
What's her name? Is Ashley? Or what was it? I was actually going to look this up beforehand.
That's a good
because I
question,
know-
actually. Honestly,
It starts with an A, I think.
Sarah.
Sarah?
It's Sarah.
Okay,
It's
there's an
Sarah.
A in the name, so I was correct somehow.
It's close enough. There's also an H, that's and an S.
Yeah, there is a brief part of the trailer where it shows Joel running with her in his arms through,
yeah.
through a diner. And I built some of the interior set of that diner, so
Oh, I can't
that's
wait
why.
to
Because
hear all about
immediately
that.
I was like, "Ooh, look at the walls! I did that shit." And then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, I should look at like the subject matter and be excited about that."
And you told
That's
me
gonna
that
be the-
there was a lot of attention to detail. I think I'm allowed to say this. And another person actually who worked adjacent to the production. I won't name any names just due to the nature of I don't know what their rules were. But there's a lot that's been put into set dressing in a styling which is familiar to the game. If you've played the game, you know a lot of the storytelling is what is called environmental storytelling. So it's like something. I think if you've played BioShock, think like that. Something happened a long time ago. You don't know how long ago. You can kind of tell by just how aged everything is, or someone left to go get their grandma or whatever the heck, and I'll be back, Jim, and whatever the heck. And you see a corpse in the bathtub, and you're like, oh, I don't think Buddy made it back. There's a lot of this just like passive storytelling happening but it's active because it's part of the set. It's part of what you're experiencing, just going through it, and that's it. It's bringing life to like a desolate environment, kind of reminding the viewer that like life happened before all of this, and now they're just kind of treading through something that's decrepit. But there is a ton of attention to detail that's put into that, and I think it's one of the first games that ever really nailed. Besides, I would say BioShock, which is, of course, discovering a city underwater that went rabid. But that really covered kind of the what happened here? Every room you walk into in that game, you're kind of just like, whose house is this? Who lived here? Yeah, you got little kids'
every
drawings.
piece tells a story.
Yeah, little kids' drawings on the fridge, little stuff like that. Like I know, I got to glimpse some of that, and of course, I'm not name dropping anyone. It was not this guy. I got to see a bunch of little signage type stuff that was. I can tell you this because it's leaked. Just children's stuff, lots of like little kids' drawings and things like that. So maybe there's an indication that we'll most likely see the school. If you're familiar with the game, we'll most likely see the school, which means we'll almost certainly see the bloater, which should be.
From that gym scene, the gymnasium, right?
Well, the gym.
I'm
They're going to
interested to
school.
see.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see if they do that in the same setting or if it's going to be different.
And I mean, that'd be kind of cool if it's in a gym, honestly. That was kind of a weird place to throw down. Like, you're squeaking of your shoes. That game has such good level of detail. You turn, you can hear little, like gym squeaks. So I was like, wow. Wow. That's unreal, Otherwise, everywhere else, no matter where you, walk in games, it's just like tap, 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 tap. And then in Last of Us, every once in a while, you get a little squeak. It's like, nice.
A little chirp.
Yeah, well, ASMR brain enjoyed that, so... Yeah, I mean,
All right,
honestly, that wraps my feelings. You have any final thoughts? Anything you want to say besides?
Final thoughts is I'm fucking excited, dude. Like this was like it was one of the most powerful things that jobs I've ever worked. It was like every day just being so intrigued with working with all these different new materials, new methods, I learned so much about the film industry and like how things work in regards to building a movie set. And I'm so excited to see all of the things that I walked around every day and assembled with my hands. I'm so excited to see how they look from the other side of a really high production film lens, and then having...
You get to say, I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah,
I'd made
even
that.
CG. Yeah, there was a rooftop set that I got to walk across the plank or whatever, right? Just because we were working on the two different roof sets, right? And we just walked across the plank.
There's a fucking plank.
Yeah, so
that's so relevant. Last of Us fans rise up. Plank.
There's so many rooftop sets. That's the crazy part was that there was so many rooftops built, but it was. I just can't wait to see how it looks digitally meshed into a different world, like a totally different universe.
Yeah.
And it's tomorrow. I've been waiting for this for a long time and I'm very excited. So yeah, that's where I want to leave this.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah, I mean, and lots of rooftops. Sounds maybe like Bill's little city. Maybe sounds like his little hometown, his stomping grounds. So it's a little another prediction for you there. Sounds like we'll maybe get a little bit of that. But there was a lot of planks in that game, to be fair. So could have been anywhere. That's just my guess. All right. So obviously, tune in. When do we want to have this next one? I guess what were we thinking? We're gonna try to have it for next week.
I don't think it's realistic to record after we watch the episode. I think we should have like a phone call and like talk about it,
Like
or should we just like leave it for fresh?
Yeah. That's what we should do. You gotta leave it crispy. You know, you
Hey,
don't
so
order
Monday
McDonald's and yeah. That sounds good. You don't order McDonald's and then let it go cold and then heat it back up. You don't do that.
What about nuggies?
Okay, well that's different. You know what? I might just eat those cold. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
the other day.
All right, fine. My analogy sucks. Are you happy?
I'm sorry. No, like I think Monday we'll pick it up on Monday. We'll do an evening, probably same time. We'll break it
Okay.
down, and then we'll try and make it as quick as possible to turn it around and get it out like maybe Tuesday night, and then yeah.
I'm gonna figure out something from on there. Then that sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, otherwise, in between, if you want to check out this absolute asshat on twitch.tv.
Twitch.tv/Seductro. I will offend your family more on my stream, to be honest, than I will here. So
Promises.
This is, well, I'm wearing a tie. You know, I had to. This actually contains all of my, what would you call those, bad manners? I guess you could say. This is the table manners tie. I brought it out for tonight because you never know who might hear a podcast, see it. You never know. Someone's mom could be watching. Try to keep it a little bit above board here, but we get degenerate back home at twitch.tv/Seductro. So if you want to come check that out, we're live pretty much all the time.
Basically Edmonton, the Twitch stream.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. Seems like everyone there knows it. So yeah, and then of course look forward to our friend there, as we call him in our stream, Gene, but we'll call him Tanner. We'll let him do it. I'll give him that this time. Check out his magic projects. We look forward to it anyway. It's not out yet, but
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, like, The Last of Us is probably going to be done before we release that. So,
okay. Well, then there you go. Then just keep edging yourself a little bit towards that. All right.
yeah.
Rubbing your
bit of a
hands. A little bit of
Yeah, otherwise, best thing you can do is, like, yes, share it around. Tell your friends. Organic reach is big. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe, please, and send in thoughts and comments. You got things you want read, you want things said, you got questions.
Please, yeah.
Viewer input's awesome. I mean, the thing is, we're gonna talk even if you don't. So you may as well be involved.
Yeah, if you're really passionate about The Last of Us and you want to talk some shit, maybe we'll have you on, because
Maybe just ship it.
Yeah, just ship it. So this is we're like right on 58 minutes. This is a perfect little hour cut. So that's episode 0. Is it 1? Is it 0?
Episode 0. Bottles
0.
and bricks.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you on the next one.